I normally don't wear earplugs when I'm shooting Time Attack because the cars are relatively quiet, but when you come by, you're just basically gonna blow out my eardrums, but in a good way, you know, and it sounds so good.
It's got a symphony.
What's your name?
My name's Chase Maurer.
And where are you from?
Central North Carolina.
So what is this actually?
This is a 1984 Alfa Romeo GTV6.
I've never even seen one built for Time Attack, let alone seen one on the street. Did they even sell these in the US?
Yeah, I think they sold like 660 of them up until like 1990 or something like that, 1989.
That's probably why I haven't seen any. So why did you want to build this?
It's kind of an accident, and it's sort of something I wouldn't recommend to anybody else, but it was better than scrapping the car. It was a totaled car, and it had the nose wiped off of it pretty good in a frontal impact. We noticed it had some cool little trinkets underneath, some cool little aftermarket hop-up parts, which is super rare for an Alfa Romeo GTV6 or any Alfa Romeo, and you know, decided we should see if the engine runs. By the end of the same day, we were able to hear a little sputter out of it, so decided to turn it into a race car.
And it is definitely that. I mean, it's very far from a street car now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what other events do you do besides grid life?
Exclusively, we do a lot of vintage racing. So it would be like SVRA, HSR, we'll race here. We did a MIDI here about a month ago, I think. So the car has been developed to campaign with them and sort of, you know, abide by their rule set, but that it's really easy to bring it to like a grid life and have all the fun with your friends. Our background is sort of, you know, from front wheel drive Civic applications. So this is a big contrast between that, and it's been really exciting to be a part of.
That's awesome. All right, so we're gonna do a quick walk around. We're gonna start with the outside, but Lewis has the right tool here for that. This is the best motoring pointer. First, I wanna point at how cool the livery is. Marlboro livery is one of those ones that could be, you could say, a little bit outdone, but it's hit or miss, and it absolutely looks amazing on this car.
Dude, thank you, that's exciting. We did our homework, and I definitely tried really hard to track down the proper paint code, which was this fluorescent red, and is extremely exciting. And we actually went to Penske. Being centrally located in North Carolina, we're about 20 minutes from Penske's shop, so it was really easy to get in contact, and they were really friendly and wanted to help us along with the project. So they gave us those numbers, and this is actually my first paint job. I painted this in the gravel right outside our shop bay.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, this is not a wrap.
No, this is paint on this one.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun, big learning process, and then there was a whole lot of wet sanding because I painted it in the dirt, you know. It's sort of an homage replica of Danny Snowbeck's 1980s French production racing car. So on the outside, it looks very much like that racing car. We really focused on making it safe on the interior and fun too, because we put 2 seats so people can ride along and you jam, you know, have some fun.
So did that race car actually have a Marlboro livery then?
Yeah, it really did. It looked almost exactly like this one, and it was actually a championship winning car, I think 3 years in a row in France, 2 years in Europe, and I think 2 years in Italy as well. So it was a relatively successful car on that side of the world, and it's kind of cool to reflect that so many miles away.
One of the things that I really like about this car, it's a spare tire well.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool that it's part of the shape of the car now because you've removed the bumper. I mean, it is a race car.
It has a factory rear mounted battery, and the well is sort of down in there. I've incorporated the well cell, so I've also sort of tried to, you know, get that weight back.
And if you guys were wondering what I was talking about, it's this right here. See, I'm pointing at it, this thing. Yeah, it's really cool. I love that. So this is all Lexan?
Yeah, it's got full Lexan, which helped us with the weight. She's a heavy girl at 2,800 pounds, so no lightweight racer. It's kind of cool, got that reverse hood on it.
Yeah, I like that.
This is the original motor. It's a 2.5 liter Busso V6, and it's got 12 valves, so it's extremely archaic, and I like to call it a tractor motor because that's about what it is. The only hop-up part that it has on it is the header set. It is completely stock except for the set of headers from Italy and then the open exhaust pipe as well.
It sounds so crazy when you fly by me. It's absolutely insane. So how much power do you think it's putting out?
Genuinely, I think it's probably achieving about 100 wheel horsepower. From the factory, these is about 140 flywheel horsepower originally, but being the fact that it's got 2 flywheels on a permanently spinning shaft and a rear mounted clutch, it's a lot of rotating mass, and we lose about 30 or 40 horsepower through that.
So how much do you think you're putting down to the ground?
I think it's about 100 horsepower.
Really?
I mean, spec Miatas have the opportunity to blow my doors off, so you really have to have it at full tilt and keep the momentum up to get a decent lap time.
Yeah, you were really wheeling this thing though.
Thanks, man.
That
It was a
is
lot
awesome.
of fun.
So what about the interior?
The interior, we really focused on keeping it really safe. Obviously, the interior doesn't really portray the car that we replicated, as it has many modern safety features. I've got the Willwood brakes with the dual master cylinders in there in an attempt to achieve greater braking zones. And then these containment extra large saw belt seats make it really easy to let any passenger come check it out, ride along. And then yeah, it's got the stepper gauge set and the collapsible sweet column in there. So it's got some trick pieces to make it better.
That is too cool. So there's something special about the brakes on this thing, right?
Yeah, it does have very unique brakes, especially on the rear. To be noted, they're actually inboard. So
Right.
this has
That's why when I look back here, I'm like, where's the rotors? They're not actually right here.
Yeah, so it has inboard mounted calipers, which it also has a rear mounted gearbox. The transmission is on the rear like a Corvette. And
or
that
like
was,
a GTR?
Yeah, like a GTR, and that was, you know, for the 50-50 distribution, which it has perfect 50-50 distribution within 5 pounds on all 4 corners. I actually built the car on scales, but you can see the inboard mounted calipers like an old Formula One car would have.
Right there.
You know, in an effort to get all that weight inward.
This is so cool. Like, and plus on top of that, it's so clean under there.
Thanks,
Did you take it down to metal?
No, I just used a couple cans of rattle can to cover up the old stuff. So my dad and I built the whole thing. It's a father-son project. The car was actually fully restored shortly before we acquired it because it had been wrecked in the front, and it was wrecked in the front literally on the way home from the restoration shop. It had fresh red paint on it. It had a peanut butter interior, which was all redone. It was a gorgeous cherry street car. So we kind of had the straight body lines to start with, aside from the front.
Can you pop the trunk here?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. It's got one of those well cells mounted in there that goes down into the tire.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah.
So we did great.
You utilize that whole area.
Yeah, and we could really work the 50-50 distribution like that. Like I say, within 5 pounds. I built the car on the scale, so every time we would add a new component, we would figure it, you know, where does it need to be placed inside the vehicle. So I've got the trans cooler with a tilt-in pump right here.
Okay.
And then it's going into a C-Trab little cooler, oil cooler here on the back, and then there's a hole in the floor, and it lets the negative charge go through there.
Trans cooler. Yeah,
Yes,
that's really
because-
cool.
Yeah, and those rear calipers are mounted to the gearbox, so you get some decent gearbox heat because, you know, all the braking components are attached. So I thought a trans cooler would be the way to go.
Functional vent right here. Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
What
lot
about
of
the
fun.
wheels?
The wheels are actually Motegi wheels, MR224 or something like that. And they were able to cut my custom 5x98 lug pattern because that's what an Alfa Romeo GTV6 probably is, like the only car with that lug pattern. And they were able to cut my back spacing too. So we were able to build a wheel together, and I think it fit perfectly. It really closely mimics the wheel that was on the car that we replicated. So.
Yeah, it fits really nice. It fits
Thank
very
you.
flush. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for showing us this beautiful
Dude,
build.
heck yeah, my
Can you
pleasure.
start it so we can hear it?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Lewis, here's your pointer back. It's not coming off. My ears. So cool. Say that's a wrap. Say it. That's a wrap.